Is this Mr. Gambino here with a new video? And this video on me going over the news that was dropped yesterday, July 15th, 2021. That went over the new Santos Tuners DLC that will be coming on Tuesday, July 20th. But yeah, starting off, I wanted to talk about a couple moments in the trailer. Obviously, there might be like vehicle reveals in the trailer and stuff that might not be anywhere else in the like newswire and stuff. But I'm not the most like car savvy person or anything, so I kind of want to just focus on a couple things with the trailer. One has to do with like the thumbnail, which I won't be showing the thumbnail directly, but in other parts of the newswire as well. And then there's also this part on the trailer. But yeah, the thumbnail of the DLC seems to contain one of the drip feed vehicles actually, because it's not in like a list of 10 vehicles that's later on down in the newswire. And apparently, from what I looked into, it seems to be an Emperor vehicle. Not entirely sure if I've heard right, but I believe it's some sort of like Emperor vehicle that will be coming out for like the vehicle manufacturer. And then here, in this moment of the trailer, I don't recall seeing this character in the newswire anywhere, but that seems to be the return of Hal. Hal is a character from the story mode that was like a stranger and freak for Franklin. So that character seems to be coming back, though I think he was also in the GTA Online like introduction. I think he was actually like in the introduction for like a few seconds customizing rides or something. That's kind of going to be his like second appearance in GTA Online, and he'll finally have a major role, it seems, besides like a little cameo in like the introduction of GTA Online. That's pretty exciting. And then, Santos Tuners coming July 20th. I honestly expected this, obviously, considering that they did a longer event week for the current moment. It goes till like the 19th, obviously with the drop of the new survivals. Being a longer event week out of nowhere, it was kind of to be expected. And yeah, I don't recall thinking of anything much interesting with these two paragraphs here. I think we already pretty much known all of that. And by the way, before I go any further in this, there won't really be much of any information about like the robbery side of things, unfortunately. They didn't really go much into that. It's more so about the actual like car aspects of the update for sure. But yeah, I didn't really find much of anything too interesting. Again, there might be some new vehicles in here that's not like part of the like 10 that they showed off for the most part. But yeah, I'm not gonna bother looking into like all the different like details here and whatnot. But yeah, Alice Car Meet, apparently to get started you'll need to go to a graffiti warehouse in Cypress Flats. So it seems they're actually going to be like remodeling a place somewhat similar to how they did with like Benny's way back in the day, I imagine for sure. So pretty cool that they're going to give like a whole new like exterior to an existing building. Like when they build onto like exteriors and stuff that don't have much work on them beforehand and whatnot, that's for sure. And yeah, talks about good vibes only policy. And yeah, we already knew about the law and whatnot. But I love how they say small time chumps looking to terrorize the citizens. I have a pretty good idea that most of us know exactly what they mean when they say that. That's for sure. And next paragraph, I think the only thing I really wanted to talk about here was with the like weaponized vehicles. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to bring your weaponized vehicles whatsoever. Like, I don't know why they can't just disable the weapons. You can't even use the weapons in like any other interiors. I don't understand why you can't just use them. Especially when there's like non-contact races, as we'll be seeing later in the newswire here. But yeah. And aside from that little thing, we kind of already known everything else. But kind of unfortunately you can't show off your weaponized vehicles. Like if you want to show those off, you'll still have to like go on the streets and stuff. And then this image, I believe it's just 1 to 10 vehicles again that they showed off, and then all these other ones are way behind and whatnot. I'm not going to use like any zoom tools or anything to try to get a closer look or anything. And yeah, LS Car Meet membership. Just 50,000 to become an LS Car Meet member to get even more privileges, which is definitely pretty on the cheap side. And also doesn't necessarily seem like you're going to have much of a property to purchase. It seems like more of a like public like hangout space kind of. So it doesn't seem like much of a like purchasable property. But hey, at least it's most definitely going to have more to purchase than that Red Dead update, perhaps. But yeah. To start, there's a new reputation progression apparently, where you unlock new benefits after each level. But yeah, essentially it sounds a lot like the arena system, and I really hope they do a lot of improvements to the reputation that the arena did not have with the arena points. I believe arena can go like all the way up to rank like 1,000. It might even be like a vehicle unlock for like the final rank, like rank 1,000, or like the last one might be like rank 500 for like a space docker or something. But yeah, there's a lot of really ridiculous like Pegasus exclusive vehicles you can get if you get super far in the arena if you somehow do. I think recently I've played like a couple hours of the arena and I would only get like 1 level and stuff. I'm like a 30 something I think. So yeah, pretty ridiculous. So hopefully they do it vastly different from the arena. And that doesn't take till like the next GTA game entirely drops for a lot of people to get up those high ranks and whatnot in the first place. But yeah. And yeah, you'll get access to the test track, large on-ground space, and the car meet warehouse. So that's where you can like drive, drift, and race without interference. You can also sample new test rides in the test track, and apparently it has like a rotating selection. So I feel that's somewhat similar to the like Diamond Casino's like podium vehicles and whatnot. Except I imagine it's probably going to be more than 1 test ride at a time and whatnot. So it's kind of like the Diamond Casino thing, except it's like multiples and whatnot. Also kind of similar, reminding me to like the podium vehicles of the Diamond Casino and Resort, the prize ride challenges, the one that's special prize ride. That one's in singular form, so I imagine it's going to be probably exactly like that, where like maybe every event week they change up the prize ride and whatnot. And yeah, prize ride challenge, obviously, unlike the casino thing where you have the chance, a very easy chance of getting the vehicle with the casino. It's probably going to take a lot more work to earn getting the vehicle in the new like car meet and all that stuff. And yeah, being a member will get you access to a range of special shops apparently. A merch shop, probably obviously like the casino clothing store in a sense, where you'll be able to get some highly exclusive clothing in the very exclusive place. So yeah, a lot like the Diamond Casino being a public like hangout spot for the most part. And obviously I'm not counting like the master penthouses, which that's an actual property. But yeah, I don't think they really mentioned much about like an actual like property kind of side of things, unlike with the casino, for example. Tattoo shop, I wonder if it's going to be like the traditional tattoo shops that are like throughout the city where you have to pay for the stuff, or if being a member will get you access to like free tattoos, similar to how like if you get a master penthouse, a certain upgraded master penthouse, it lets you get like haircuts for free. So I wonder if it will be like a free way to finally get like tattoos and whatnot. That could be kind of interesting. And then the modding area, where players in real time can see the modifications you do. Definitely pretty hyped to be able to show off modifications to more than like whatever amount of vehicle seats your vehicle tends to have, I suppose. Higher level members can also create a private takeover where you can customize the lighting and banner colors apparently. And higher levels, here it doesn't really suggest anything about like different tiers of like membership where you can pay like a huger amount of money to get a higher level or something. I imagine higher levels obviously would be tied to their reputation progression. But yeah, This might be a look at a prize right here, not entirely sure. Or it could obviously be something with like the modding areas, even maybe the private takeover. Now we finally started to get to like an interesting screenshot. Here seems to be a look at like a police car, which kind of goes into something later on. But yeah, this seems to be a vehicle that's not in the like 10 vehicles, which I assume are the vehicles we're getting for day 1. This seems to be like a drippy vehicle. You might think it kind of looks like an Nissan logo, because it's kind of very the logo. But from what I've been hearing, this is an Ubermacht vehicle, and they actually talk about an Ubermacht vehicle later on as well. Not to be confused with the vehicle on the like thumbnail of the trailer, like I mentioned. That seems to be like an Emperor vehicle. It kind of seems to be a little look at it, a little preview at another like drippy vehicle here. And that's the first occasion of it, and on the news wire at least, not counting the trailer. But new races, there'll be new races inside and out the car meet, like head-to-head, essentially kind of just like the regular type of races, I imagine, in a sense. Scramble, up to 4 players race to collect 20 checkpoints. Kind of gives me a little feel of like Blood Bowl from like San Andreas. San Andreas is like an arena mode or something in that game called like the Blood Bowl. Kind of reminds me of that. Though I don't know if like the checkpoints will disappear and stuff when like one person collects them. But in the slightest, it reminds me of that. And time trials give you a chance to put vehicles through pace, score your own personal record apparently. So apparently we're getting another set of like time trials in a way, in addition to the regular like RC Bandito time trials we have like right now. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be anywhere near the same thing, but yeah. And apparently you can share it with up to 30 players, so literally a whole entire lobby can share the track for those that are non-members, more so in particular. You don't have access to the private stuff. And there's like private test track solo. That's pretty cool, as long as you're a member. And then yeah, new race series, street race series, and then pursuit series. And this I think is just a look at one of those like 10 vehicles that are probably going to be coming out on day 1. This image I'll talk about kind of later here, but it does seem that's still at least one new vehicle I want to say. But yeah. Street race series has like shortcuts and stuff that are just as much about the risk as the reward apparently. But yeah, going back to how and whatnot, was that character being a stranger and freak for Franklin, who was like a stranger and freak that gave Franklin the street races. So I imagine it could be kind of similar in the style to the street races from the story mode for the street race series. Definitely pretty curious to see how those compare to that. Pursuit series, basically like runaways from like the police and like the cops and stuff like that essentially. But yeah, checkpoints that are placed sparsely throughout the map and encourage creative routes. And yeah, it kind of goes into image here. You can see the pursuit stuff. Obviously, there's the police car here. I imagine it's another one here or something. I think that's probably a mirror for like the police car. But yeah, you can see P-Fister up there. I doubt that's just a livery. I bet that's like, I think that's like one of those like sun strip things that you can put. A lot of sun strips tend to have like the actual vehicle manufacturer on them. So it seems they're getting some sort of P-Fister vehicle, which wasn't really mentioned much throughout the thing. That's another little look at a probable trippy vehicle. I think this again seems to be like the Emperor vehicle, which I talked about was on the like thumbnail. I didn't show the thumbnail yet, so this might be kind of first look of that I'm going over in the video so far. And yeah, can't really tell what that one is. And there's Sprint, which offers point-to-point challenges in free mode with up to 3 other racers. And essentially it goes from point A to point B, which point A is practically always going to be the LS car meet. And you go to LSIA or wherever else, and you probably have to go right back to point A. Seems like a very interesting type of race with Sprint for sure. Here, just a bunch of vehicles and whatnot. can't really see much, in my opinion, in terms of what could possibly be new and what's not, so I'm not going to really assume what might possibly be new there. Earn and rest. But yeah, reputation is a valuable commodity. You can participate and win races, so it seems you might be able to do races by yourself in the private test track, and you might still be able to get reps. That's definitely a good step in the right direction compared to Arena War, which Arena War didn't have like any solo modes at all. You always have to rely on like other players to even play the mode, which is kind of huge. Just downside of that DLC. So it seems like it kind of have learned in a way from the Arena, I'd say. And then apparently also do a lot of bonuses, putting in time on the test track, and then even just hanging out at the car meet. So I can see just being AFK in the car meet could probably be one of the best ways of getting that reputation. Unless they have like a thing to check that you're AFK or something, which I kind of highly doubt, but yeah. And then underground road a custom car enthusiast reputation is valuable commodity again. Bringing rep gets you a assortment of rewards to get your status elevated. Includes unlocking access to all sorts of gear, which again kind of reminds me of the Arena. There was trade prices on clothing, so oh great, we're probably going to have trade prices on clothing again or something. Flashing new car customizations again goes kind of back to the Arena. Trade prices on certain vehicles. That's kind of a bit better in the Arena. I think literally every vehicle in terms of the Arena had trade prices, and literally all 12 vehicles with the Arena, I believe, do have trade prices. The only thing I think doesn't have trade prices is like the upgrade prices of the like non-Arena ready vehicles. So I guess in a sense it was kind of true for that as well. But yeah, at least for vehicles, it seems that trade prices might be toned down in the slightest, hopefully. And then access to new race modes, apparently. So great. That actually sounds kind of worse than the Arena in that place. In that way, I think it definitely sounds somewhat worse than the Arena, unfortunately, because I don't remember any sort of mode whatsoever being tied to like your Arena rank before. So apparently there will be modes that you have to unlock. I don't entirely know how I'll feel about that personally. Kind of sounds like a huge negative in my opinion. I feel like all the modes should be available regardless of your reputation, but still, at least it's something pretty cool to work towards over like simple vehicle modifications, which you can just pay a higher price if you don't want to like wait on getting them at a discount or something. And then there's even the ability to hold your own private car meet as well. And then here's an image as well. I think this is just the ZR350. I think it's might be that like Ubermax vehicle and then that T-Fister vehicle. Nothing really new there. And then finally goes to new vehicles, which it shows 10 new vehicles, which I'm assuming these are the ones for day one, because there's 7 drip feed vehicles, because they said there's 17 in total, and I will be getting 10 on the first day or something. So at least that's a good step compared to the Santos Summer Special. I feel that DLC was pretty boring with the lack of drip feed, but I don't know, it also kind of had that like completion kind of feel compared to other DLCs as well with the Santos Summer Special. So I kind of like that the drip feed kind of don't, for sure. But starting off with these 10 vehicles here, there's the Karen Coleco GTS, which apparently was the one that they teased in like May or whatever, I think it was. Karen Futo GTX, another version of the existing Karen Futo, which is pretty cool. The Innis Euros will actually be a returning vehicle from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I remember this one was like a very rare vehicle. I think it was required for like export and imports for San Andreas. So yeah, it was a super rare vehicle in that game. And I'm very glad to finally see the Euros return from San Andreas. That's actually a vehicle I've wanted from that game for a while. Dominator GTP, another version of the Dominator. And this ZR350. Again, it's another returning vehicle from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It's one I really wanted as well. Back in San Andreas, I feel it was one of the more unique vehicles as well, with the pop-up headlights. That wasn't a very common thing back in the 3D Universe GTA games, at least. It isn't necessarily the most common thing with the HD universe either, I'd say. So very glad to be seeing the ZR350 return for sure as well. And yeah, Dinka RT3000. By the way, this here is like the Dinka logo. They don't really show off the logo too good in the like images for the Dinka vehicles. And yeah, going back to the logos, the NS logo looks kind of like that. They don't really show the Vapid logo, but yeah, you can see the Vapid logo in like the trailer, I believe. If you're trying to look into what's new and what's not, obviously that Cater, that's the Karen logo. And then a Volcar Warner HKR. But yeah, if I didn't say Dinka RT3000, that's actually a brand new vehicle similar to the Coleco, which was the first one. The Warner HKR, a new version of the Vapid Warner, or not Vapid, but Volcar Warner, which that was a vehicle from like the I'm Not a Hipster DLC from back in like 2014. Okay, Tailgater S, apparently we're getting a brand new Tailgater, which is like Michael's vehicle from like the story mode, which is pretty cool. Finally getting a new version of that vehicle. And obviously you can see the logo on that one. The Jester RR. It's apparently being another version of the Jester. So we have quite a few versions of the Jester now. And then our last of a couple new vehicles entirely that are going to be original to this series that weren't from previous GTAs or not like another version of a vehicle we already have, the NS Remus. So yeah, pretty interesting there for sure. A little breakdown, the Coleco, another quick breakdown there, the Coleco, the RT3000, and then the Remus, those are a couple like full entire new vehicles. The Vito GTX, Dominator EGT, Warner HKR, Tailgater S, Jester RR. Those few are new versions of existing vehicles in the game that we are going to be getting. And then finally, the Euros, and then the ZR350. Those are going to be returning vehicles from past installments in the GTA series. It's a very cool variety of vehicles, in my opinion, for sure, in terms of like their types and whatnot. And then, yeah, it'll have a fresh new vehicle inventory. But yeah, in this Dinka, there was obviously innocent Dinka vehicles in Oaks 10 here. And yeah, that kind of one huge hint they gave on a new vehicle, the one that they directly mentioned for a drippy vehicle is an Ubermacht vehicle. They didn't say what it was, but it's kind of the only like drippy vehicle they actually like straight up mentioned in the text. Besides for that, you kind of have to look into the images and whatnot, obviously, to find any of the other drippy vehicles, which obviously I did my best to kind of try to do. And it says that straight up Vapid Muscle, which goes into like the Dominator GT. We have 17 new cars, with 10 dropping at launch, which obviously I bet the 10 here, or obviously the 10 we're getting at launch. I don't know why there would be exactly 10 images if those aren't the exact 10 we're going to be getting. We'll state one with the DLC. And yeah, they mentioned stuff about exclusive stuff for PS5, Xbox Series X, and S for this DLC, and apparently it's going to be for like speed improvements for selected vehicles. Not sure why only for selected vehicles. But yeah, vehicles will be able to be even faster in the 9th gen versions of the game for sure. Pretty interesting to see how that all turns out. And yeah, this seems to be Moody Man here, I think. More on that, like, near the end, I believe. And yeah, playing GTA 9 from now to launch will get you an opportunity to earn some special rewards. Just meaning that by playing anytime between now and launch, we'll get you all the Santos Customs T, and then participate in any impromptu race for the interaction menu. We'll get you all the Santos Tour jacket for some clothing themes you can go for right now. And successfully selling a vehicle to Los Santos Customs, the free mode will get you a Los Santos Customs coverall for your inner Grease monkey. And you can claim the rewards by playing Los Santos tuners on or after the 20th. And your items will be in a wardrobe 2 hours after logging in on July 23rd. So probably at least July 26th for that one there. Yeah, not really a lot to cover with these couple images here. This seems to be that Emperor vehicle again from like the thumbnail on the trailer, and then another screenshot I think showed that Emperor vehicle. Again, seems to be the Umarok vehicle, and it's that P-Fister vehicle. So we have at least a good look at least a couple of the Dirt V vehicles, but there could obviously be a couple more sprinkled in like the trailer and whatnot. Personally, I just went over what I personally found to be interesting in possible Dirt V vehicles. And then finally, and more, stay tuned for more details on the Santos tuners at the newsletter next week. So specifically, I'll look at contracts. So yeah, like I mentioned in the first couple minutes, there unfortunately wasn't really much of the new details for the robberies. It was basically just a bunch of details in terms of the actual like racing tuner stuff. I was kind of hoping for more details in the robberies, but oh well, guess I'll have to find out when the update comes out. And then yeah, you have to put your driving skills to a test alongside simulator face with the music locker. Again, I think it's gonna be Moody Man. I think I looked into like Rockstar's Twitter, and I think they like retweeted or tweeted something that mentioned Moody Man or something. So it particularly seems to be Moody Man from the music locker that's gonna be involved with this DLC. And yeah, that's finally gonna be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed.